It is preparing to live stream the meeting.
Well, y'all look so official with your seals and flags behind you, and I'm at home with a Christmas tree, so I'm not fitting in well with the group here today. But I have my Denton County sweatshirt on. Ron Marchant gave me for Christmas a few years ago. So anyway, Judge Hartling, I got your text, and I'll respond to you later, my friend. I've been on Zoom calls all day long, so I haven't been able to get back with you, but I'll be sure to do that.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Judge Hartling is actually on
We lost
her
our
bathing
first.
suit.
What are you saying, Judge?
I said Judge Hartling's actually on a beach in her bathing suit, a drink sitting right next to her right now.
I don't think she has going to have a black turtleneck on at the beach. That's what I would do, because I look like a plucked chicken in a bathing suit. So I will tell y'all are my friends, and I'll let y'all know this. We lost our first Judge. I don't know, McCrary, I don't know if we have a quorum yet or not, but I'll fill a little time here before we do. But
And we're
Okay.
live streaming. We're live streaming,
Okay.
Judge.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the warning. We did lose our first, sadly, we lost our first Denton County employee to COVID last week. And very sad story. We lost our first doctor in Denton County to COVID-19, one of our first responders. It was actually my doctor. And she passed away 2 days ago in Louisville, a long time practice. So this is a very real disease, and it's hitting close to home. And I would just, I will compliment all of you on being great partners and understanding as we've gone through this, and the adaptations we've all had to make, and that y'all have had to make from the state governing, giving y'all directives and everything. And y'all have been good partners as I've seen y'all out and about in social settings. Y'all have been leaders as far as the protocols and practices. And I want to, with the party and so forth. And I want to thank y'all for y'all's partnership, because this is a real deal. We have over 60 employees across the county that are from various county departments, contract temps, and the county staff at the health department doing the contact tracing. And and we have thousands still to contact. I mean, yesterday was a record day. We have thousands that we're working on. So
Judge, it's Maura. I just got a text from my sister that her father-in-law, he was hospitalized with it a couple days ago, and she just texted me that he's going downhill and it doesn't look good.
Yeah. So
Got it. Anyway.
one of Ginger's clients, and then we'll do the agenda. I'm not hijacking your meeting, Judge, but I will tell you this: there's lots of ramifications related to COVID-19. And one of my wife's clients is a dentist, and he has said that it's been amazing that the people who have had COVID-19, even months ago, how their recoveries on their dental work is very, very problematic, that the implants are not implanting, that the infections are increasing, the jaws are not regrowing bone and everything. And this was a medical doctor, telling Ginger, like, through his own practice. And that's been happening even with the pediatrics that he does. He has a lot of pediatric cases as well as adults. And so the COVID-19 patients are not recovering and responding to traditional dental, the basics, some of the basic dental things that we're doing. So it's a real deal, but I'm not going to, we will switch the subjects. I was giving y'all a little bit of an update among friends here, because we're all friends. I was just giving you a little inside intel while we were getting a quorum together, but sorry about that, Judge. I yield the floor.
Well, thank you for your leadership. I will call the December 11th, 2020 Juvenile Board meeting. And I will note that one of the ways the public could reach us if they wanted to comment on any of the agenda items was to send a letter to the Juvenile Board Chair. As of this morning, I have no such correspondence. There were two other ways to make a public comment. That was to email and or call Gail Joseph. So she does have the permission of the chair to interrupt us to let us know if there is anybody wanting to make a public comment. With regard to item number 1, that is indeed public comments. And do we have any of those? And so hearing no response from Gail, I will take that as a no. The second item is to approve the minutes from the July 27th, 2020 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes? From Judge Robert Ramirez, thank you. A second from Judge Oliver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And if anybody opposed, would you raise your hand or indicate you're opposed? Do I have any abstaining? The motion carried unanimously. Number 3 is the reports of any changes that we've had in policies or procedures since the last time that we met. Dave Lennington from the probation department provided you all with those summary of those updates. He's present for this meeting. Is there anybody from the public that has a comment on reports and information? Hearing none, I'll ask any board members, since this is not an action item, if you have any questions of Dave Lennington. Hearing or seeing none, not being an action item, I'll move on to the next issue. Number 4 is to take action regarding the election of a chairman for the Denton County Juvenile Board. And that has to take place at the beginning of each year in order that we have somebody in place for the first meeting of 2021. I'll ask if there's any motions for Juvenile Board Chair for 2021.
I move that Judge Kimberly McCary continue to serve in said position.
I second.
Okay.
We all second it.
I
Okay.
think they all seconded it.
Move that we accept it by acclamation.
Second.
All right. So that does pass. Thank you all. Number 5, we have a request from the Double Oak Police Department for approval of a juvenile processing office. The application was emailed to all of the board members. It meets all the statutory criteria. Do we have any comments from the public on the juvenile processing office request? Hearing none, I'll ask if we have any motion from the board to approve that police department's juvenile processing office request.
I will so move.
I'll
second. All right, any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
If anybody is not in favor, would you let me know? And did anybody abstain? That passed unanimously. Okay, number 6 is discuss and take appropriate action regarding the duties of the juvenile associate judge. This is actually my request. I think all of you know that our Commissioners Court was kind enough to provide for us an associate judge. He primarily, I believe, does criminal, and in fact, takes care of all of our magistration, as you know. He does detention hearings on cases that I cannot handle for one reason or another. That's been his sole requirement when it comes to juvenile, is to take care of only detention cases that I cannot do. Because I'm the judge of the SOAR, the Juvenile Mental Health Court, there may be times that I get recused on those cases. Recently, I had, for instance, just a very small matter on a child that was in SOAR, successfully completed SOAR, picked up a new case, and his attorney wanted to have a mental health evaluation. And I felt that I could not rule on that because the new attorney on the new case would have much less information than I had because I dealt with that kiddo for so long in the SOAR program. That would prompt me to find another judge, maybe ask our administrative judge over our entire region to bring a judge in. I'm asking you all on a very limited basis if I could ask Judge Robin Ramsey to take care of those things for me if the young person were not necessarily in detention. On another matter, I had a records request come up and I was the prior attorney on that case. So I know that his primary duties are for you all and I will not infringe on that, but I am asking for him to be able to do more things as the associate judge of juvenile. So is there any motion?
So moved.
Second.
Did anybody want any discussion on that?
I guess he's in agreement with that.
He is. He's here if you had any questions of him. I talked to him, of course, before this, just to make sure time-wise he had time. As far as the knowledge goes, he sat in on so many hearings for me just voluntarily, read the books, as they say.
And I've been doing this for a while, actually, long before I was in this county position. I would occasionally do it. So, yeah, I'd like to help y'all in any way that I can help y'all. And in fact, as a side issue, that somehow my name's dropped off the blood warrant list on DWIs. I'd like to help y'all out, but my name's not on there. So y'all may be getting more calls, but if you want to put me on there, I'm good with it.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I was on there for a long time. And suddenly I stopped
I
getting,
just forward my phone to him at night, so.
I
I'm
will
not sure.
just forward my phone to yours, yeah.
and it was suddenly I stopped getting them at all. And I thought, did I do something? But what, and on the other hand, what am I thinking? But anything I can do to help.
Just Carrie, I have a question. Do you have any idea of how much, time a week, a month, or whatever that this might entail?
I hope you agree, Judge Ramsey. I don't call on him very frequently, maybe once or twice a month and then we usually have 15-minute detention hearing or something like that.
And strangely, at this time with Zoom, we're able to handle, sometimes we can even run cases concurrently. She was in her courtroom doing some, and I was handling one yesterday. But when I'm doing it on Zoom, it's much less of a commitment on time on my part, so.
I think this has something to do with Judge Ramsey missing the fact that he likes to do two jobs at the same time, day and night, apparently. So he's getting bored with only one job, apparently.
Well, because if you stay home too much, your wife comes up with all sorts of things for you to do.
Honey-do list.
Yeah, and it never ends. It just gets bigger.
I would say less than 2 hours a month.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay.
All right.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. All right. So let's put this up for vote. All in favor of him being approved to take care of on a limited time cognizant basis, additional duties in the juvenile court.
Approved.
Aye.
Aye.
And is anybody opposed? Did anybody abstain? Okay, that motion carries unanimously. Thanks for being here, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next issue is setting the next juvenile board meeting, but the bigger part of that request is this is our big meeting of the year wherein as juvenile board members, we're statutorily ordered to inspect the juvenile court, inspect the pre-adjudication detention facility. So all kids that are awaiting trial that are in detention, the post-adjudication detention facility. So that's where I place kids up until their 18th birthday. And you all have to deem those things suitable or unsuitable for the confinement of children statutorily. And that is, I understand, a huge responsibility for all of us. But in light of the situation that we're facing now, we have a proposal for you, and that we checked with the Texas Juvenile Justice Department first before making this proposal. We checked with our legal department here before making the proposal. And that is that we do a virtual tour and inspection of the court, detention, and our placement facility for the January 2021 responsibilities. And Matt Merrick practiced how we would do that for you all, and he's present to kind of give you a summary of what that might look like. Mr. Merrick?
We have the availability to live stream similar to a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting or a meeting like this to walk you virtually through the buildings, and so that you can look at the facilities and we can stop and talk about anything that you may see, or we're trying to make this as easy as possible on you. If you wanted to come over, of course, we'd have to temp check you, and we've been relatively lucky all through COVID. Not relatively lucky, real lucky. We haven't had one positive case inside our facility yet. So we're working hard to keep it that way. But we want you to be able to feel comfortable in us walking you through the building and stopping, and you can ask questions. We can show you whatever you want to see throughout the building. We do have one small area that we have no network access, and that's in our kitchen area. We could take still pictures of that for you and send it to you on the day of the tour, if that's acceptable to you. So those are some options that we have available.
And you actually walked this through as a practice and it did work.
I did. I tested that with Ken and also Tracy just to make sure we could walk around and they were able to see what they wanted to see.
Okay. So do we have any motions as to part one? We would have to set the juvenile board meeting in January 2021 to meet our requirements, our deadline requirements for those inspections. And so I would ask that you all allow us in the probation department and the board chair to actually set the date of that in January 2021 and get back to you further with those proposed dates. And part two, the chair would request that we be allowed to do a virtual tour. So is there any motion?
Can I get a point of clarification that it would be optional to do a virtual tour? So if anybody who really wanted to go and physically look, they still could. It's just an option to do virtual. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then so moved.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion about that?
Judge, may I, as it relates to the date of the meeting, I would like to, and I think it ties into the condition of the current facility as related to our last year's conversation that we had. I would like to see if we could maybe do that the third week. We can maybe have that meeting, maybe the second or third. I prefer the third week, the third Friday in December. I'm going to be unavailable the last Friday of the month. But I would like to, our team from a facility standpoint has been working on the timeline with the purchasing and our architects we've got on board and so forth. And so we have a work group. Many of y'all are on that work group, that courthouse work group. Okay. And so I would like for us to, and that involves Bruce Isaacs and others, and y'all are well familiar with that work group. I would like for us to be able to have that one or two meetings with that work group to go over the timelines of everything as it relates to the juvenile construction and Judge Robeson's new courtroom, et cetera. So I'd like to go over and fully brief the committee, let them brief y'all so y'all are well prepared, because I think that's part of that conversation about where we're looking for with the ultimate construction of the facility. So if y'all would allow us to, we've been working diligently on that, but we have a federal requirement that it's been all hands on deck allocating for the $147 million we have for federal CARES funds. And so we've been working with the cities and United Way and all our partners getting all that spent. and accounted for, because we have a hard deadline by the end of the year, just in a couple weeks. So, but we've been working on this concurrently. So I would really like us to have, for us to have some time. The Commissioners Court knows that they're going to see it last. They're going to see that plan last. I've already told them. I said I want to get with our judges and brief them on the timeline and the timeliness and the staging of all that. We've had a little bit of changes last week as on one of the elements as well. So I want us to, it's not bad news. It's just related to another building, but kind of connects with this. So if y'all would indulge us to not do that the first or second week, I would just like for us to have time to huddle up as a work group, get y'all's input, feedback, and then we could roll into that final meeting and let that be part of the presentation. If that would work with the body.
And it does work for our deadline, Judge. So that could be made part of the motion.
Okay.
All right. So is there a motion as far as timing and how we would do the inspections?
I move that we have the meeting in the 3rd or 4th week of January 2021, that the work group be scheduled at least 5 days before that meeting. And that we allow at the option of each individual judge to do either a virtual or in-person inspection of the juvenile facilities. And I guess, does it have to be done by the time of the meeting?
Yes.
In advance of the meeting?
All right. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that?
Judge, just to make sure that the record's clear, I'm withdrawing my previous motion so that Judge Robison's motion is the only motion on the floor.
Thank you, Judge. Any further discussion about that? Ms. Gale, any public comment?
No, ma'am.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstaining? Okay, thank you all. All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Let me bring Mr. Metcalf in. The next item, number 8, is the consideration of the retirement of Ken Metcalf, the Director of the Denton County Juvenile Probation Department. Ms. Gale, any public comment on this one?
No, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Metcalf, welcome.
Thank you.
Would you like to officially make an announcement?
Well, I would like to say it has been a pleasure to work here at Denton County. A lot has happened since 1978. It certainly hasn't been the same job in the 42 years I've been here. I think growth has been the foundation of this county. It has just continued to grow. I looked today at some preliminary numbers from the census report, and it looks like we're still number 3 on the fastest growing county in Texas, and fast approaching 1 million people. I don't know what the official report is going to look like, and I think that should be coming out soon, but I would expect that growth to continue. It's really been an honor working here at the county. We have a very professional staff, very committed. So it's been a pleasure working, with them, with Judge McCary, with the board. And I think throughout all the years, the department heads that I've had the privilege to work with, very professional. So it's made the job very pleasurable in spite of all the many challenges we face and continue to face. But I do want to thank the board for your support, and I expect to continue the support of the department. I feel we're in a good position, and I feel you should go to sleep at night feeling good about the department. But thank you so much for the privilege of working here.
I'm going to miss working with you.
Me too.
Well, thank you very much. It's not an action item, so I will put you in the waiting room because I'm about to do an executive session. All right. So I'm going to ask Miss Gail and Miss Melanie to wait on me in the waiting room. I will take the minutes for this portion and turn them over to the DA's office. Other than our legal representative who is in this meeting, I believe now Matt Merrick. Make sure that we have all board members. Anybody seeing anyone that's not a board member or our legal? All right. So I have asked this item.
Hold on.